地处古丝绸之路，他对“一带一路”和两国合作充满期待。
I think what has been achieved in bilateral relations between us was only the beginning of the very long journey.
东西方文明在这里交融汇聚，身处特殊的地理位置，他强调独立自主，批评西方干涉。
They used to the answer which actually says yes, sir, and in our case, it will never happen.
阿塞拜疆总统阿利耶夫接受高端访谈独家专访，敬请收看。
关注国际焦点，洞察世界风云。大家好，欢迎收看本期高端访谈，我是王冠。现在我们所在的位置是阿塞拜疆首都巴库，在这里我们要对话今天的嘉宾阿塞拜疆总统阿利耶夫。对不少中国人来说，阿塞拜疆可能是一个遥远的国家，它位于欧亚大陆连接处，在我身后的里海的西岸，是连接东西方的重要纽带。地处十字路口的阿塞拜疆如何在东西方之间找到属于自己的发展路径？它在全球地缘政治和全球贸易当中扮演着怎样的角色？它同中国的关系又正在经历怎样的发展和演进？带着这些问题，让我们一起走进今天的嘉宾——阿塞拜疆总统阿里耶夫。
His Excellency President Aliyev, thank you so much for inviting us to your country, for accepting this interview. We've been here in Baku for 3 days only, but we're really impressed by how modern this city and this country is. And everywhere you go, there is an Azerbaijani touch.
Yes, this is true. First of all, welcome to Azerbaijan. And I'm very glad that you are spending in Azerbaijan several days, so that will be a good time in order to know our country, our people more. And you're absolutely right that we preserve the authentic origin of our cities, of our achievements, and at the same time we are modernizing the country. So what you see in Baku is a combination of modernity and traditionalism, and that was done deliberately, and in Baku you can see both. So I think it's really important asset, and thank you for noticing that.
Mr. President, we want to acknowledge that this is the 100th birth anniversary of your late father, the national leader, Gaidar Aliyev, who was not only considered the national leader, the founding father of modern-day Azerbaijan, but really a founder of Chinese-Azerbaijani friendship.
Thank you very much. You're absolutely right. Gaidar Aliyev was a man who put Azerbaijan on the track of development, put an end to disorganization of the country, and elaborated the foreign policy and domestic policy priorities which we are following now. He played a very important role in the development of Chinese-Azerbaijani relations, and I'm very glad that now relations between our two countries develop very successfully, cover many more areas, so agenda is much broader than it was 30 years ago, and they're based on mutual respect and friendship.
Many Chinese viewers noticed that besides the official agendas of your father, the late president's visit to China, he would visit average Chinese families to check out the lives of everyday Chinese people, sitting with Chinese families, shaking hands with primary school kids, visiting the Chinese countryside. Actually, we got some photos here that we thought might need some further elaboration from you. This photo was taken in the 90s, right?
Yes, exactly.
This is a great photo.
That he was really very interested not only in official contacts, but also to establish people-to-people relations. And this photo actually demonstrates that.
And this one, he was obviously interacting with a primary school student, I guess,
yes.
Who sent him a birthday present. You like it?
Yes. Yeah, really, that's good illustration of what you've mentioned.
So, how would your father tell you about China and his China trips? What was China like to him? And then, how do you see the continuity of this friendship from one generation to another?
Well, actually, for him, China was not something which he had to discover. He was well aware about the development of China in different times when he was senior deputy prime minister of the Soviet government. And he was well aware about the dynamism, the development of your country. And when he became president of independent Azerbaijan, of course, one of the main foreign policy priorities was to establish bilateral relations. And I remember when he returned from his official visit to China, he was very impressed. He saw the growing power. That was almost 30 years ago. He saw a consolidated society and a country which has its very clear objectives. So actually, the foundation of our bilateral relations were laid after that historical visit. And since that time, they have a very big potential for dynamic development.
阿塞拜疆位于外高加索的东南部，站在欧亚大陆的十字路口。阿塞拜疆曾是古丝绸之路的重要站点，商贾旅人络绎不绝，东西方文明交融碰撞，让这里成了世界上文化和民族最具多样性的国家之一。阿塞拜疆是中国在中亚地区的重要合作伙伴。自1992年建交以来，两国合作不断走深走实。如今，中国已经成为阿塞拜疆第4大贸易伙伴国、第3大进口来源国。近几年，随着两国在“一带一路”倡议中的合作不断加深，巴库国际海上贸易港、阿拉特自由经济区等基础设施陆续建成，中阿合作开启了新时代。
You recently described China-Azerbaijan relations as excellent.
Right.
Where do you think it is, and how do you want to take it to the next level?
Yes, I can only confirm what I said. I consider relations excellent. And this analysis, this word, also covers a very broad agenda of bilateral relations and very clear prospects for future cooperation. I think what has been achieved in bilateral relations between us was only the beginning of the very long journey. I hope a journey of strategic cooperation. Because today, when we look at the political map of the region and also on map of transportation routes, we see how our countries are closely aligned with each other. For instance, if we take basic issues on global international agenda, our positions coincide. They coincide on issues related to sovereignty, independence, territorial integrity, non-interference into affairs of other countries. They coincide on issues related to economic cooperation, and we see the growing numbers of mutual trade and especially the potential. Relatively recently, our relations have been intensified even more. And of course, my meetings with President Xi Jinping play an important role in elaboration of the direction, and they put very clear targets for development. So I really can only reconfirm what I said, that relations are excellent, and they will be even better than that.
You talked about your meeting with President Xi. You met him on several occasions.
Yes.
What do you think of him as a leader? What kind of person does he strike you as?
I had a chance to meet President Xi Jinping many times in China and also on the sidelines of international events. And I have great respect to him, and I always was impressed with his vision, his intelligence, openness, and being deeply aware about bilateral relations between us. Because China, as a global power, has a very broad foreign policy agenda, much broader than one of Azerbaijan's. This is
different.
natural,
I mean, it's
of course, but at the same time, being deeply aware about the substance of our cooperation, about prospects of our cooperation, really demonstrate that President Xi is a very responsible person. And that is the result, this resulted in the very successful foreign policy. And you know that year after year, the number of friends of China in the world is growing. And this is due to this wise policy. And we can only, applaud to what he is doing in development of his country. And this, I think, is one of the unique cases on global arena, especially now, when you just help countries which need help and which cannot get assistance on time and from other sources. I can give you one example about Azerbaijan. When COVID started, we were in a big trouble because we did not have vaccines. And the only country which helped us with vaccines was China. I wrote a letter to President Xi asking to help, and immediately there was a response. We got the first portion of 1 million doses, and we started vaccination in the middle of January, so one of the first in the world. And how can we forget that? But at the same time, that there have been countries in the West which stockpiled 5 times more vaccines than they needed. And they left countries who could not produce and could not get access just without vaccination. So they just were, demonstrating this vaccine nationalism. And also I can tell you that Azerbaijan was one of the countries which publicly struggled against the vaccine nationalism as a chair of non-aligned movement. So what I'm trying to say is that this is an example which demonstrates the Chinese policy towards Azerbaijan, and I'm sure the same policy is towards every country which needs help at the time when it is needed. Therefore, and as a person, as I said, I had many meetings with President Xi Jinping, and as a person, he is very friendly, very respectful, very open, and really, I also, as a person, enjoy communicating with him.
Talking about connectivity and infrastructure projects, cooperation, how did Azerbaijan do it? How do you look at the merits of the Belt and Road Initiative?
You know, one of the targets for our development was to transform Azerbaijan into one of the regional centers for connectivity. Because if you look at the map, you'll see the geographical advantages of Azerbaijani geography, which is situated just on routes from north to south and east to west and backwards. But lack of transportation infrastructure actually created a situation that our geography was not used. And I was absolutely sure that we can improve that. We are actively working also with our Chinese partners and our neighbors to establish this infrastructure connectivity and also administrative connectivity, because we need to have single policy on tariffs. We need to have more interconnection with respect to customs regulations and to open this gate broadly. So relations between our countries in the future also will play important role in a growing number of cargoes going through Azerbaijan.
We know that Azerbaijan is also launching has launched this Trans-Caspian International Transport Route.
Yes.
How significant is that?
Yeah, this is actually part of Belt and Road Initiative, because we clearly understand that in the current geopolitical situation, Trans-Caspian route is becoming one of the most important for countries of Central Asia. Again, if we look at the map, we will see that there are not many ways for Central Asian countries to transport their cargoes in European direction and backwards.
So there's a sea lane, there's a Trans-Siberian route, but that takes a lot longer.
Yes, this is one reason. And second reason, of course, certain geopolitical changes and restrictions on transportation routes, sanctions on transportation routes make that transit more complicated. Therefore, if not through the Caspian, then how? And the countries of Central Asia, they are developing, they are producing more goods for export, and they're also buying more. Therefore, routes across the Caspian becomes vital.
Yeah, you talk about the cultural value of connectivity, of the Belt and Road Initiative, Mr. President. Actually, we were in Mugam Club restaurant 2 days ago, and we were thoroughly impressed by what we saw there. That was, of course, the old caravanserai for people to rest and recover from the ancient Silk Road. Being there feels like, you know, time stopped, as if you could see history unfolding, as if you could see people, commerce, cultures mingle and blend. How do you see the cultural value of trade, of, you know, this, what Chinese call the Belt and Road Initiative?
Yeah, definitely. This will create additional spirit, or will contribute to the spirit of friendship and interaction. Because countries which were situated on the Asian Silk Road, one of their, how to say, specifics or similarity is that they have a diverse societies, multi-ethnic and multi-confessional societies, and Azerbaijan is part of that positive scenario. Therefore, cultural heritage of Azerbaijan, as you can see with your own eyes, is something which is duly protected by our state, and for us it is an asset which we need to keep, preserve, and hand over to new generations so that they do. And at the same time, more connectivity projects with partners will lead to more visits, more tourists, more trade, more interaction, and that will only make richer our culture and our society. So we look at this from this point of view, and we are very fortunate. All the ethnic groups who live in Azerbaijan, they live as one family, and this is one of the biggest assets.
20世纪以来，美国打着民主自由的旗号，大搞胁迫外交。他在拉美推行新门罗主义，在欧亚大陆挑起颜色革命，在西亚北非策划阿拉伯之春，在世界各地搞和平演变，肆意操弄顺我者昌、逆我者亡的强权政治。2005年6月，阿塞拜疆也曾刮起过橙色风暴。
We all know what State Department is capable of, you know, along with their security establishment in multiple attempts to subvert government and change regimes they don't like in Central America, across Eurasia. Back in the day, I was a Washington, D.C. correspondent for 8 years, and I must say I learned a lot in both directions. So, talking about the biased portrait from the Western media, of non-Western countries such as Azerbaijan and China. Why do you think is the case? What are the factors behind there?
The main reason, I think, is that Azerbaijan pursues independent policy based on its national interest. Azerbaijan, unlike some countries, do not engage in any adventure which is not in line with our priorities and our national interests. In other words, we behave independently, and our policy is independent. And some people in the West, they are used to different kind of scenario. They are used to the answer which actually says, yes, sir, and in our case, it will never happen. we will defend our identity and our dignity with all the means which we have. So I think this is a basic reason why Azerbaijan continues to be a target for media attacks, attacks from so-called independent NGOs. We all know that they're not independent. Who can say that Human Rights, Amnesty International, Freedom House are independent? Look from whom they get the money, who orders the music, and they cannot afford even one step right and left which is not agreed with their bosses. But you know, we managed to live in this environment. For me, the most important is not what Western media write about Azerbaijan, but what people of Azerbaijan think about the policy of our government. And as you can, you know, see, and if you talk to the people, you will see what they think about our government, whether we are right thing or not, and the consolidation of our society, and you know, strong support, strong public support. And if somebody in the West think that by insulting the government officials, by spreading slander and rumors, they can influence public opinion of Azerbaijan, maybe they're right, but their influence is not in the direction they would like to see.
Talking about territorial integrity, there's something that is very dear and near to the hearts of many, many, many Chinese. That is the issue of Taiwan. There's this outside intervention on the issue of Taiwan. You earlier said that you don't support efforts to try to split China. Can you elaborate?
Well, we always supported and continue to support China's territorial integrity and the policy of one China and the policy of reunification of China. This policy has been articulated many years ago and was reconfirmed on many occasions, and it is absolutely unchanged and will never be changed. First, because China for us is a friendly country. Second, because we always support laws and principles of international law. And international law cannot be treated selectively. And those countries who want to treat international law selectively will only lose their reputation, because international law clearly elaborates that territorial integrity principle is a fundamental principle of international law. Therefore, our position on one China policy is absolutely clear. And I hope that some Western governments also follow this position.
So you would support an eventual Chinese reunification?
Yes.
President Aliyev, let's talk about one of your favorite subjects, sports and fitness.
Good.
You posted a video of you doing pull-ups on your 60th birthday?
Yes.
15 of them. I mean, wow. That was impressive. But you could have done more, right?
I used to do more. I showed it only for the first time. Why I did it? Because I want our young generation to do the same. And I want to say that when you're 60, if you don't have bad habits, if you have regular sport exercises, you can do it.
It was impressive that you are transforming your personal passion for sport into something bigger. I mean, look at Baku. It's a site of F1 in downtown city. And also Baku hosted the Euro 2020, the 2015 European Games, the first of its kind. Really, talk to us about your passion for sport. Why sport?
Well, first, because I love sport. Second, because I did sport during my life. Second, because sport is an important factor of life of society. When your athletes win, when they raise a flag, when they
national anthem,
yeah, you're full of emotions and you're full of pride. So that was an important factor of young generation to be patriotic. And also for physical health, because we want our society to be healthy. We want our society to be physically fit. And also now we work on a massive sport, mass sport, so that we have sporting infrastructure in every region, and we already done it. At the same time, this is international prestige, because the first inaugural European Games, really, they opened Azerbaijan to Europe. It is a city presentation. For those who have never seen Baku, 500 million audience Formula One has, 500 million audience. After first Formula One, we had growth of tourism 20%. It brought us a lot of international tourists, a lot of foreign currency into the country. So it is a lot of factors which, dictate that every government should pay big attention to sport development.
I remember Euro 2020 well. I think it was either Cristiano Ronaldo or another European team that went to play in Baku in the group stage match.
Yes, we had also the final of European League, final match of European League also in Baku in 2019 and Euro 2020. Yeah, so Baku became already the international destination for big sporting events.
Finally, Azerbaijan is still a mysterious and remote country in the opinions of many everyday Chinese. I'm sitting with the president of the country, so I'm tempted to ask you, can you maybe tell the Chinese viewers of our program why Azerbaijan, why they should consider Azerbaijan as their next tourist destination?
Well, first of all, people of Azerbaijan are very friendly and hospitable. Second, we have very modern hotel infrastructure. We have a diverse nature. We have 9 climatic zones, and the country's territory is not very big, so you can reach either by train or by car, or maximum by plane easily. Roads infrastructure is one of the best. Cuisine, I think, also one of the best.
We had so much kebab.
Thank you. And well, the weather is very friendly, so you can ski in the mountains, you can swim in the Caspian Sea, you go hiking, you go to see mud volcanoes.
President Aliyev, thank you so much once again for welcoming us into your country, and thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
阿利耶夫总统表示，中方的共建“一带一路”倡议和阿方的复兴丝绸之路计划相得益彰。在采访结束之后，阿利耶夫总统还用“希望每天变得更好一些”来表达对双边关系的期待。好，感谢您收看本期高端访谈，我是王冠，我们下期再会。